Hey everyone, it's Craig Campbell from Pastor Craig's Vintage Cards, and today looking at the story behind the cardboard of one Tony Cloninger. And this is his 1962 Topps card. It's his rookie card. And you can see there's some kind of staining on the front, either wax or gum. And but that's okay with me. It's just fine for my collection. And for a 62, the edge of the borders are not in that bad a shape, which is surprising. Um, this is card number 63 in that set. And you can see the little cartoon says Tony's big moment. Tony received a very large bonus from the Braves. And yes, he did. And let me put this down and this down here. And let's get into the story behind the cardboard of Tony Cloninger. Tony played in the major leagues from 1961 through 1972 with the Braves, the Reds, and the Cardinals. He had led his American League team in North Carolina to the state finals, and he was noticed by the Braves in the spring of 1958, and they signed him to a contract. And his bonus was $100,000, which was one of the largest bonuses paid at that time. Now, when a Giants scout had heard that the Braves had signed Tony Cloninger, he got in his car and he raced 300 miles west to sign another hot prospect before the Braves got to him, and that would be Hall of Famer Gaylord Perry. So at the age of 17 years and 10 months, Tony Cloninger made his debut in the Class D Sophomore League, and he did not make a very good impression. In 1958, his second season in Class B, he went 0-9. No wins, 9 losses with a 9.59 ERA with 58 walks and 46 innings, and he was demoted. Finally, in 1961, he had a good, strong spring training, and but he was sent to AAA. But then in the middle of the 61 season, he was called up due to some injuries. Now, Tony was a power pitcher. He was a tough fireballer, and the Braves had really looked to Cloninger to kind of be the next guy to step in for Warren Spahn, because, you know, the Hall of Famer Warren Spahn was almost done. And they were really hoping that Cloninger would become that staff ace. And as a matter of fact, he did, as he led the team in wins in 3 consecutive years before injuries really kind of started to beset him, and he never did fully recover from that. In 1962, his shoulder flared up on him, and he only had 48 innings. But then, after taking some time off, he had a really strong finish, as he finished with a 6-1 record. And as 1963 season had started, he had amassed already in 2 seasons a 15-win and 5-loss mark, but he just had a really hard time staying healthy. And that was kind of his problem all through his career. Again, he was a tough power pitcher, and of course they just kept running guys out back then and didn't really give him the appropriate rest or diagnosis, and he just always had some issues with arm problems, shoulder problems. But he was a heck of a pitcher for those 3 years where he led the team in wins, and he had a couple of really, really good years. And if you ever want to win a trivia contest, this would probably be it, as Tony Cloninger, a bat that he used is in the Hall of Fame. And it wasn't even his own bat. He had to borrow his teammate Dennis Minke, his bat. And Tony, actually on July 3rd of 1966, at Candlestick Park in San Francisco, get this, he hit a grand slam as a pitcher for the Braves in the first inning and the 4th inning. He finished the game with 9 RBIs. He hit 2 grand slams in one game as a pitcher. Plus, he had a run-scoring single. But what an amazing stat. If you ever want to win a trivia contest, Tony Cloninger, 2 grand slams in the same game, the only pitcher to do that. And he ended up finishing his career with the Cincinnati Reds, and he actually pitched in the World Series, I believe, in 1970. Yeah, 1970, pitched in the World Series for the Reds, and then he went to the Cardinals, and he did a lot of relief appearance with the Cardinals. His arm was just really giving him some issues, and just over the years, he had shoulder, elbow, you name it. He just had some serious arm problems. But Tony did finish his major league career with 113 wins, with 97 losses. He had a 4.07 ERA and finished with 1,120 strikeouts. Now, he went on to coach the Yankees from 1992 to 2001 in the bullpen. He was a bullpen coach. Therefore, he was a 4-time World Series champion with the New York Yankees. And then after leaving New York, he was a coach in the bullpen for the Red Sox from 2002 until 2003. And then he worked as a consultant from the Red Sox from 2004 until he died in 2018. And Tony Cloninger was known as a battler. Joe Torre said if there was anybody that if anybody gave as much effort as Tony did, they would be great players. He was just a hustler. He gave this game everything he had, to include really some tough arm problems. But really, he was one of the best pitchers to hit in the major leagues. He had a really good hitting record as a pitcher, and with I think maybe 11 or 12 home runs to include those 2 grand slams in one game. But Tony Cloninger, he was a big part of the Braves, their rebuild coming into the late 50s, early 60s. And he just, I should say not the late 50s, but really into the 60s. He was kind of looked upon as their guy to replace Hornspawn, Bob Buell, Lou Burdette. All those guys were kind of aging out, and the Braves really hung a lot of hope on Tony. And he did have those 3 really good years. And I think one year he actually had 24 wins, so he did quite well. Now, if you're a set collector, Tony Cloninger's name is going to be pretty familiar, as he had a card issued from 1962 up through 1972. So that's the story behind the cardboard for Tony Cloninger. Did sign that bonus for $100,000, not even 18 years of age yet, and really had some difficult early years in the minor leagues, but then became a good pitcher. And you know what? He had 4 World Series rings as a coach with the Yankees, and quite a good career for Tony Cloninger. All right, guys, that's the story behind the cardboard. I hope you enjoyed this. Please leave a comment, subscribe to the channel if you have not, and give it a like. I sure would appreciate it. Until next time, guys, enjoy the hobby. Keep on collecting.